Welcome back. I'm Emily at Emily's podcast, Tribute to All Little Angels, Part 5, Episode 6 of Refresh Our Memory, a continuation of July 2022. July 19th, 2022. 10:02 a.m. Samantha replies to my message. She wrote, "Oh wow, Nana. They thought they were in the clear, so they had to come up with something. Yes, we can. I will look in to see what and how to do a podcast. Shoot, even starting to put your story on TikTok. Maybe if you want to see how that goes too." I wrote anywhere, anything. We need publicity. I told Samantha about their response. I told her about the admittance map with my handwritten date on it. I wrote their defense is my legal documents I sent in my file to the Attorney General. And I know because I wrote the date of when I received it. Samantha wanted to see the map, so I sent it to her. Samantha replied, "Wow, I can tell that's your handwriting too. Them punk beep, beep. Yeah, they probably threw it all away, thinking you wouldn't come back because they believe you have Megan." I wrote, "You know it. Some of the same kind of thinking we all know. They just keep digging themselves deeper and deeper. That's why now I'm being told to go public. I know they destroyed it all, thinking no one would come back looking. But this old hag isn't going anywhere." Samantha wrote, "Yep, that's exactly it. I'm honestly thinking of starting a TikTok and posting a 3 minute or 10-minute video explaining everything and starting from the beginning and posting 2, 3 videos on the subject a day, or however many to leave the story in a good spot until we are ready to do more. But also leaving people wanting to know more would be a good idea. Also, it would be a great to show emotions there because people love that too. You'll have to come up with a name for the TikTok and a biography or description that explains why you posted on TikTok. But it's not like Facebook where only your friends can see it. When it's TikTok web, it's for anyone to see it. We'll have to figure out trending, hashtags, and stuff like that. But overall, it's a simple process. And even if we find a podcast in the meantime, we could do the TikTok because there might be a waiting list for a podcast, or even we may have to be accepted. I'm not actually sure how they work, but I'll look into them. I wrote, "All right, baby, please, let's do this." I had thought about doing a video at the cemetery to tell the story, but damn, I couldn't even talk about it then without breaking down emotionally. I believe I can now, but baby, please help me. I don't want to sound like I'm begging, but I can't do it all on my own. Aunt Susie said she'd call me after work to see if she could help with the podcast. Are you working, or when are you coming down next? I can come there if you need me to. We gotta go public big time. Thank you, baby." Samantha wrote, "I am at work and I work Thursday, but the guys are working Friday through Sunday. You might not even have to make a trip. I can set up the TikTok account and you can record the video where you would like to start. I mean, if it's easier for you or you want to come up to go over all of this, but maybe next weekend we will be down in the city around the 29th to the 31st. I could have the TikTok already set up and post a video like an introduction and just go over quickly what you'll be posting." I wrote, "All right, well, we will just play it by ear then. You start it. I'm going to try to do the video after 5 in the evenings. Hopefully not too many people will be there. And yes, baby, do what you are suggesting and only travel when we have to. And thank you so much. 10:26 a.m. I know I've been mad. I know I've been disappointed in all of this. It just seems like a lot of people tell me the same thing. I will help you. But to me, it seems like they do or they will for a little time, but then nothing. But for some reason, I have come to realize today that they have. They have all helped, all of their different help in their own way. The advice, the suggestions, the phone calls, the hunts have all been very appreciated, truly. 10:44 a.m. Samantha wrote, "Okay, Nana, sounds good. You can send all the videos to me and one at a time and in order. Would help out a lot too, since you know all the details, and I don't want them to get mixed up. So you can date them. An example like May 2015, August 2015, or something like that, going over the majority and the major events. Just be natural talking into the phone. It's kind of weird to me, but show emotions when they come up. Like if you have to cry, cry. Stop the video, gather yourself, and start again from where you left off on the last video. Or if not, I could edit those videos. Just act like you're talking to me or even Megan and God. Whatever you feel more comfortable thinking about when you talk about this situation. The right people will see this, Nana. They put all kinds of stuff on TikTok. It may take a few weeks to get a lot of views, but once people get interested, it'll be worldwide. I wrote, yes, I will try to do 1 or 2 a day, and yes, I will date them. But yes, anything that will work. Okay, baby? Yes, we can do this. And thank you lots. Samantha wrote, sounds like we got it. You are so welcome, Nana, and I love you. I sent her a red heart, and Samantha circled the time her red heart was sent to her. Samantha wrote, did you plan this? I wrote, no, I didn't even notice the time until you sent back it circled. The time is 11:11. I wrote, it means make a wish and to think positive. Samantha sent the meaning of 11:11. It means new beginnings. And when you see it, it indicates you are on the right track. I wrote, oh, wow. I've been making wishes and thinking positive. Wow. We were probably meant to see this. Samantha wrote, well, it makes sense since you focus on a wish that probably helps it come true. I wrote, yes, and we will see that lets us know TikTok may be the right track. 11:37 a.m. Summer messaged. She wrote, honestly, there was no publicity on the crazy stuff that happened over here until someone on a podcast caught wind of it. Now there's people from all over talking about it. It wouldn't hurt to try to reaching out to as many as you can. That's much more of a chance for it to all go viral. If I think of something, I will definitely let you know. And if I could, I would come down there. I wrote yes, and anything you can find out, I'd appreciate all of it. We got to get it out there. We got to get loud. And thank you, Summer. 12:42 p.m. I sent Samantha a message. I wrote, the temperature here is up there today, so being out at the cemetery for me will be impossible, but I'm going to try to do as much as I can in the evening hours as the weather would be cooler. 1:11 here today. I will work on how to start it. Samantha wrote, all right. 7:02 p.m. I ran by the post office to mail some letters, and on the way Susie calls. She called to remind me she will call me after work. 7:14 p.m. after work Susie calls. She tells me what she found and how to build a podcast. She told me other information and told me, let me call you back at 8:30. I said, all right, and we hung up. I then drove to the cemetery. 7:36 p.m. I pull into the cemetery. It looks as though I'm the only one here, and I like it like this. I pull up to Wyatt, and of course I cry. I ask him to watch over all of us, and I took a picture. I pull around to the west side to visit Megan, and of course I took pictures. There are oars in some of the pictures, in at least 5 of them. And while I'm here, I try to reenact the picture of the day of Megan's funeral. And without having the picture in hand, I can already tell from the recent picture my proof is accurate. I just wish the city would quit playing games with our emotions and fix it. I sat with Megan for a few more minutes talking with her. I then pulled away and left the cemetery. I drove home. 8:23 p.m. I sent Jen a message. I wrote, any suggestions on a name for a podcast? Jen wrote, to start a podcast or other podcasts? I wrote, to start one. I have to name it. Jen wrote, is this to talk about just the cemetery case or a little of everything? I wrote, just the cemetery for now, to take it public. I'm checking into it, but I did see I have to have a name for it. Jen wrote, how about Tribute to the Little Angels? I wrote, that's perfect. Thank you. I knew I had to ask you. Jen wrote, you're welcome. I just know that if you start a podcast, you could do great things with it to help others to get cases and issues noticed. I wrote, right, and later on we could use it for other stuff. Jen wrote, yes. I wrote, thank you so much. 8:32 p.m. Susie calls back. We talked for over 3 hours. We worked on getting the podcast set up. We did get quite a bit done, and a few times when we were writing the description, I got the chills. I did get emotional. Susie and I went to work. We set up the podcast, and at 9:54 p.m., Susie sent me a copy of the description of the case on the podcast, and she did a good job, if I have to say so myself. The description: Tribute to all the little angels. A 7-year fight, May 7, 2015. One man's fib led to this. The city disputes headstones have been moved. I start my own investigation from the time the city started disputing the matter until now, the present time. I compare pictures to probing where they said they cut down a tree that never stood there. The story goes on with much more details and photos of proof, reenactment pictures, and an overlay pictures. It's led to be very heart-wrenching. 10:13 p.m. Susie sent me the page of the podcast where we've already filled in the information. 10:28 p.m. Susie sent her email address, and now Susie and I are getting tired. So we finished up for the night, and Susie said, I will call you tomorrow after work and we will set up Zoom. We hung up. While on the phone with Susie, I had received a message from Summer. 10:59 p.m. Summer wrote, I'll try to think of a good way to organize it. I was thinking that the state is keeping it simple with a few pictures would be good. Definitely need all the pictures you can get if you're going to put them on blast. I wonder if any of the other families would have photos they took years ago to compare to where they are now. That would help out a lot too. A different family with a different position in Babyland or even in other areas out there. When I have time, I'll try to remember to take my laptop to work so I can connect to Wi-Fi and download the pictures you sent me and see what I can put together. We have been extremely busy at work, and I've been busy at home too. So I don't want to make a promise on a timeline, but I will try my hardest to help with what I can. And let me know if any other families are willing to share photos, and we can make a few different files. July 20th, 2022. 7:40 a.m. I replied to Summer. I wrote my niece over the years has talked with a few people about any pictures they may have. They did have some pictures, but nothing to help us in Babyland area. The pictures were in their area in the cemetery. And Summer, thank you. All would be very awesome and appreciative. The more we can get it out there, the better. I will let you know as I find out anything. And I did work on a podcast last night. My sister and I. She's a whiz on the computers. I've got to keep trying anything and everything, and I greatly appreciate all the help. Thank you, Summer, and have a great day. After I sent the message to Summer, I got out of bed and I checked my phone for any emails about the podcast last night. I did have one. It's asking me a few questions, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to answer them or not. And if they are from another podcast, they could be that I looked up yesterday. So I sent Susie a message. 9:34 a.m. I sent the questions they want me to answer. I wrote, I have questions to answer. Do you have time real quick? Is this one for us or just where I was looking for information yesterday? Susie wrote yes. I wrote, so do we have to answer them? Because it won't let me leave the page until I answer. I will call you. 9:36 a.m. I called Susie. She helped me answer the questions. We talked for about 20 minutes. 11:38 a.m. Susie messaged. She wrote, I got Zoom installed on my laptop. I wrote, all right, as soon as Madison comes back, she's going to do mine. And thank you, Susie. Susie wrote, if anything else, we can video call and I can do it with you. I wrote, okay, if she needs to help or she doesn't have time today, yes, you can show me how. And thanks, Susie. Susie wrote, all right. 8:16 p.m. Susie called. I need to finish up this little bit of typing, so I told her I would call her back. 8:26 p.m. I called Susie back. She said hi. I said I'm calling you back. Susie said okay, I have Zoom installed. I said Madison installed mine. She said we didn't need a microphone because the microphone is already in my computer. Susie said all right. Okay, so there's a few things we need to do. I wait until Susie is ready. Susie asked me to do a few things on my computer, and we were soon seeing each other. Hi, sister, she said. I said hi. Susie taught me how to get on the computer, how to find the page. She taught me a few other things about how to get to the emails, the Zoom, and now we will wait for the podcast page to accept us. We have a free hour to talk on Zoom to talk with each other, then it will cut us off. Susie asked me to put the pictures on a flash drive, and I told her I will do that tomorrow. Susie said, all right, I have homework to do, and you do too. I said yes, and I will get that pictures on the flash drive, and then the pictures we are going to use, I will put them on a flash drive in order and numbered. Susie said yes, yes, please do. Make sure they are in order and dated. I said yes, I will. We talked about other stuff that we need to do on the podcast, and she said, I will be with you every step of the way. I said, all right, I hope so. And it's getting late. We've been on the phone for over 2.5 hours, so we said good night. July 21st, 2022. When I first woke up this morning, my heart is heavy. Then it eased away. I know I have to stay positive, confident, and well. I got up and started my day, and I'm going to copy pictures on a flash drive. And I hope it all works out for me to do this. 11:27 a.m. I sent Jen the letter I wrote about the petition I filed. Can you read it? 11:54 a.m. I look for the phones that has the pictures on, and I look and I'm getting frustrated because I couldn't find them. I had put them separately away than the paperwork. I looked in a few drawers where I thought I put them. I looked under small pieces of furniture. I looked in closets, even in jacket pockets. I just couldn't remember where I put them. I said, oh God, please help me find these phones with the pictures on them. And I walked out of my bedroom and into the dining room, and I thought, did I put them in a drawer in a corner shelf? I walked over to that shelf, and they were both in there. I looked up and I said, thank you. I went into the garage then, where Madison and her friend Tiana were, and I asked her, will you put the pictures on a flash drive of a cemetery? I need to get them done as soon as I can and send it to Aunt Susie. Madison is busy right now, but she did say yes. But I can't right now. I said, all right, when you can, baby, and thank you. And I'm so grateful for you, Madison. Then I feel a need to rest. 1:16 p.m. Jen replied back. She wrote, yes, I could read it. I will type it up and post it shortly. I wrote, okay, when you get time, and I hope your day is good. 2:01 p.m. Jen wrote, how does this sound? I thought I would make a post to let everyone know what has been going on a recent case about the cemetery. It has me frustrated seeing my aunt continuing to go through this. Jen wrote, recently my aunt wrote a letter to the Attorney General in regards of the cemetery in Moore, Oklahoma, where there was flooding years ago that moved headstones. She's received a letter back letting her know that the city stated they did not know her. She was able to reply back with proof that the city lied about knowing her. She sent them a packet with the receipts, photos, and copies of court documents. She also asked them to have someone contact her to let her explain her story. But instead, she received a reply back from the Attorney General office saying they don't feel there is anything they can do. I want to know why. She has so much proof of what has happened, and no one will listen. This is unfair to her, to her granddaughter, and to the other people that are affected by this. And a lot of them may not even know that this has happened. I wrote, yes, this sounds perfect. It sounds good. Jen wrote, okay, I'm going to post it. I wrote, all right, thank you. Thank you for all your help. Jen wrote, posted. 5:28 p.m. Susie sent a message back. She wrote, I saw what Jen put out there. I wrote, I read it too. Hopefully someone will read it and want to listen. We've got to get loud. Tell everyone. Susie wrote, yes, and we will be doing that very soon. I wrote, yes, and I can't wait. I don't know what Summer's family went through, but it must be a sign for her to say they got nothing done until they started a podcast. Susie wrote, I will call you later tonight. I need you to do something. I wrote, all right. So while I wait for Susie to get off work, I worked on catching up on the day in the timeline. I'm curious about what Susie needs me to do, but I will wait. 7:56 p.m. Susie called. She asked me to do something. It's with help setting up the podcast. I'm not too sure of how to do it, so Madison jumped in to set it up for me. And thank you, baby. It's a link on Google Chrome, freeconferencecall.com. Susie and I were on the phone for over 2 hours. We talked of Jen's post and we talked of what Susie is going to do. Susie asked, "Did you mess with the pictures?" I said I did get the phones out that the pictures are on, but I'm not able to transfer any to the flash drive yet. Susie said, "All right, we've got a little time." I said, "All right." Susie then asked me to do a couple more things before Monday. I said, "All right, let me get some paper and pen to write it down." I did get the paper and pen and started writing what she told me. 10:01 p.m., Susie asked me to start reading your timeline as if it was a podcast. Time yourself for 45 minutes, then stop. See how far in the timeline you get. I said, "All right." She said also, "Listen to a podcast. Do you have a podcast app or Pandora?" I said, "I don't know. Let me look." I looked and read them off to her of what apps I do have. And I did have a podcast and a Pandora app on my screen. Susie and I went into a podcast and she said, "Listen to one of these tomorrow and see how they sound on there." I said, "All right, I will." Susie said, "We will have a practice podcast session Monday to see how you do and what your voice will sound like, to see if you have to turn the volume up or down or whatever, to get it set up for you and your voice." I said, "All right," and I'm getting excited to get this done. But I do know I need to do it right. Susie said, "Over the weekend, write an introduction." I said, "All right, how should I start? Hi, welcome to Emily's podcast. I have a story for you." And I feel I could help so many by putting this story out there. Susie said, "Yeah, you could try something like that." I said, "You will help me with it, right?" Susie said, "Yes, I'm in it with you for the long haul." I said, "All right, sister, thank you." She said, "You're welcome, and make sure you put in that introduction, a tribute to all little angels." I said, "Oh, all right." I said, "I will copy the legal brief I typed out and get the pictures on a flash drive too." Susie said, "All right. I have homework to do, and so do you." I said, "Yes, again, I do know that." Susie said, "Now I have a question. Are you ready to do this? You are ready to get it out there, right?" I said, "Yes. Yes, I'm more than ready." She said, "If ever there comes a time you need to stop, you have to let me know and we can take a break." I said, "I would. Yes, I will. And there may come that time, but right now I'm ready to get it out there. Put it out there and let the public know." The phone disconnected. Susie called back and we talked for another 48 minutes. And when we were done covering everything we need to get done, at 11:30 p.m., I wrote and read it to Susie. "This is by God and my angel's grace that I am here, and now I know God has brought me to this at this time to make me strong enough to get this done. Yes, Susie, I am ready." 11:32 p.m. We said good night. I got ready for bed. I said my prayers, and it did not take me long to fall asleep. Thank you, God. Thank you, my angels. And thank you for listening, and stay kind with your words.